Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Saving Often. This is part 2 of Obduction with my pal David.
Hey, are you as excited I am to nose around the Farley's Community Center and see what kind of flyers they have for local activities?
I absolutely am. I'm looking forward to getting on the bowling team here. So
Hmm.
hopefully we'll have some good information inside. I sense a lore dump coming on, so we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, I'll catch everybody up on what happened to us in part 1. We were abducted by a space raspberry. While listening to somebody tell stories about other people who were abducted from various points in time, and we landed here in Hoonrath. I think that was the name of it, right? Hoonrath,
Yeah.
which seems to be a city out of time. It seems to have been plucked from sometime in the 1800s, but we're also seeing evidence of later technology. So it seems like a variety of people have been pulled in here from various eras, and it also seems like the town has been locked down. We found a note describing all the different ways the town was locked down, and these have all pretty much equated to puzzles that we've had to solve so far to open things back up and allow us to explore. So when we left off, we had just unlocked the vault for Farley, which once we went into Farley's vault, it took us through her home, and we were able to unlock this door and come out here and loop back around at the beginning. And this is where we begin, right outside Farley's Community Center.
Also, we had that CW guy who seems to have a lot of history with the aliens, uh, the Fangor, what were they called? The
Oh,
Mofang,
the Mofang, yes, the Mofang.
those karffin
The
Mofangs.
Karffin Mofangs. Yeah, so the CW network let us know that there was something funny going on here and not to trust anybody, which I kind of feel like we shouldn't trust him either by his own assertion, but I guess we'll find out.
You think Yosef is still alive, or do you think he's super dead? Because I feel like it has to be one or the other.
I feel like Yosef is super dead.
Welcome. Does that button work, or is it just decorative?
Looks like it works.
If only just to highlight this map. I feel like it's a lot easier to read without the light on, though.
It is, but I think that that's...
Can you, like, it looks like there's a slide there on the projector you can insert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
That feels significant.
Yeah, so this thing is shifting, and that's either showing us... well, that's not showing us anything. That's just showing us the... that's weird.
It's showing us points of interest. I would suggest taking a picture with the dots and one with the light off.
Oh, we can rotate it as well.
Is there anything more pertinent we can point the projector at?
We can point it at the board. There's a way to unlock this cursor. I want to double check what that is.
Wasn't it you were trying to crouch or jump? No, jumping is photography.
Yes, jumping is photography. This is the
I'm excited to
exciting
find
part.
like a note somewhere telling us that, oh, we renovated it and now the puzzle doesn't work anymore.
Oh, this is disorienting. So if I go into unlocked mode, then I'm able to separate.
I feel like this would be really necessary if you were playing in VR.
Yeah. So we can also turn it this way. Maybe we'll find out more by doing that.
Jumping out at me as another place. Like, unless we can like put something on the chalkboard. Excited for us being able to rotate this to be a huge red herring.
See, I'm wondering if the circle is supposed to point at something else. Let's see.
Where does the nipple go, Rick?
Well, maybe we just don't know yet. Maybe there's other stuff that we can play around with here.
Can on the chalkboard thing, can you pull down anything?
Ah.
It does look significant. 15.
15. Hang on, I'm going to go back into locked mode. This is too disorienting. Okay. Promise that's the last time I go in there. Yeah, so 15. I thought this was maybe some kind of a toggle, but it's not. Let's shine our stuff over here and see what it does. So those lines seem to... I noticed there's lines on both the projection and on the... the screen here. Oh, maybe we have to line them up to be X's?
That's a good question.
They don't really line up very well. Unless maybe I don't have it pointed over enough.
It could also just be like, you know, less than, greater sign, something like that. Like, it could be carrots. It could just be...
It could be anything.
But I don't know. Like, eventually they could give us another like shape to indicate this is what it's supposed to be. But I could imagine like the 15 being like, okay, these are the dots on the map that we need to kind of like connect in some meaningful way.
Well, let's explore a little more around here. There's undoubtedly going to be some reading for us, especially on this desk. Seed information.
Ooh. I love agriculture.
Ambassador seeds. Ambassador seeds were first documented about 150 Earth years ago. They occur about once every 400 days if the trees remain healthy. Natural seed swaps occur between pairs of seeds that we now know dropped simultaneously from healthy trees in paired sphere. When each seed was touched by species in sphere, the swap occurred, sending an ambassador from each sphere to the paired sphere. Location of the swap is defined by the locations of the pairs of seeds. After the first swap, the seeds recharged quickly, allowing for a quick return. First meetings were intense, but naturally short. It was quite a surprise for both the Mofang and us. Over time, the seeds required more time to recharge, producing longer visits between species. Seed information. Unlike ambassador seeds and mother seeds, collector seeds do not seem to survive. The inner core is spent, leaving only the lifeless outer husk. Collector seeds. Everyone who arrives is familiar with the collector seeds. The bright light that we were all drawn to right before the event that brought us here is a collector seed. What new arrivers may not be aware of is that these seeds, like all seeds, come in pairs. When the tree drops a collector seed on the ground, it signals that its twin has begun its quest for a new being. That search may take hours, or it may take years. When an appropriate situation, a natural threat of death, is found, the seed activates and swaps a smaller but varying sized sphere from Earth, or whatever appropriate homeworld, here to Hunrath. As Hunrath became more populated, we would watch for a newly dropped collector seed, collect it, and place it in the entry canyon area. This allowed us to provide a more predictable entry experience for new arrivers, and provide a single area to collect any resources that may have come along with the new arriver. That's the last page.
Okay, so it sounds like that we know those are raspberry seeds.
Mm-hmm. No, put the book down. Thank you. Communication, talking with our neighbors. We take communication for granted even with the varied languages we find here in Hunrath. But when we suddenly find ourselves among other intelligent species who don't share our culture, history, DNA, or vocal cords, it requires a huge amount of effort for the beginning of rudimentary chatting. This quick overview will set the stage for what to expect when communicating with our neighbors. Mofang. The Mofang were the first non-humans we met. With at least some level of similar physical vocal generating abilities, they picked up human words quickly. This early mimicry resulted in what the species became to be called. Even though they were able to mimic single words and simple phrases, it became evident over the years that huge grammatical differences were not easily overcome. Some have proposed that the difficulty may have arisen because the Mofang insisted on attempting to learn every human language, and as a result were never able to lock on to any consistent grammatical structure. Nevertheless, in spite of the rudimentary sentence construction, it has been very easy to communicate, and it has been unnecessary for us to learn their language beyond a few simple phrases and proper names. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the Mofang, please contact Tam. Villein. The Villein have presented a particular communication challenge. From what we can gather, they produce sounds using two large reed-like structures inside opposite sides of their heads. The vibrations generated are channeled to resonance chambers in their skulls, where they are combined into a complex, low-frequency dual tone. The low-frequency bitonal sounds are not only hard for humans to hear and resolve, but impossible for us to mimic. And the Villein's hearing is also oriented toward low frequency, so they are unable to hear most of the sounds associated with human speech. Therefore, communication with the Villein has relied on technology. They have adapted consoles, which the Villein fluently control with vocalization, for use by other species. Over the years, some individuals of other species, including a few humans, have learned to communicate very effectively using this method. Humans have been able to pick out some higher frequency characteristics of certain key Villein words over the years, and although we can't speak to them in a way that the Villeins can understand, we are occasionally able to hear and recognize these words when spoken distinctly by the Villein. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the Villein, please contact Vito. Arai. None of the stages of the Arai morphology have any vocalization apparatus. Because of the obvious synchronization of the barnacle flash and the ability of the pawns to provide for and address the needs of the polyarchs, it was assumed that the species could communicate effectively. It was not until Farley began to spend large amounts of time in the polyarch antechamber that the first clues to this communication became evident. After months of research, Farley began to have limited success with receiving some kind of simple messages that were coming from the polyarchs. It is apparent now that the polyarchs had been attempting to communicate the entire time, but they themselves had been experimenting with various channels until they finally got a response from Farley. After this breakthrough, others were able to tune in to the polyarchs and learn to listen. Both the polyarchs and the pawns have a simple organ that can sense human vocal frequency, enabling them to sense simple responses from humans, but over the years, Farley was able to learn to speak to the polyarchs via a related form of extrasensory transmission. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the Arai, please contact Farley. Species description. Mofang. Through ambassador seeds, the Mofang were the first non-human species humans were introduced to. An Liang was the first to call the alien a Mofang, impressed with their advanced ability to imitate our sounds, movements, and mannerisms. Although they have a name for themselves, their language is mostly unpronounceable by humans. As a result, and because of their mimicry abilities, communication with the Mofang is primarily accomplished by their learning human languages rather than humans learning to speak Mofang. They have been able to learn almost every human language represented in Hunrath, enough to provide functional, if rudimentary, communication. The Mofang basic external morphology is remarkably humanoid: bilateral symmetrical tetrapods, bipedal head with anterior facial features, mouth, eyes, nostrils. Other external features include minimal body hair and raised dorsal protrusions. Constitution is somewhat frail, due apparently to their thin and lightweight internal structure, but internal investigation has not been possible. They have ample cranial space to account for a substantial brain, and their intelligence is impressive, as evidenced by their advanced technology. Ah, that's a Mofang.
Freaky.
Arai. After a certain level of maturity and health of the tree, a passage opened at its base. This passage allowed contact with 2 additional species. The first contact was with the Arai. The first contact revealed the Arai to be large beetle-like insects. We were unable to communicate directly with them in any way, but they appeared to have some rudimentary level of intelligence. It was Loring Toth who first made the journey through the heart to Kaptar and named both the New World and the inhabitants. The Arai have 3 distinct variants that have come to be referred to as barnacle, beetle, and polyarch. Although their morphology is dramatically different from human, their interior systems, like all of our neighbors, are supported by similar atmospheric composition and basic nutrients. In their barnacle stage, the Arai are completely immobile. The Arai stay in this egg-like development state seemingly indefinitely. In order to hatch, they must be in proximity of a polyarch, and fertilized by the beetles after a certain stage of maturity. The beetles are the eyes and ears, hands and feet. With only a minimal nervous system of their own, they are essentially the sensory extensions of the immobile polyarchs. They are able to execute simple commands, but apparently have very little in the way of individual sentience.
So are those the bug buddies we've seen flying around?
It might be. They kind of look like scrabs. The Arai polyarchs are the intelligence and consciousness of the species. Although it was obvious that there was intelligence behind the species, it wasn't until Carolyn Farley began spending large amounts of time in close proximity that deeper communication began. With a room nearby, Farley was the first to communicate non-verbally and learn much about the species, including some historical information. The Arai species survived in their world while several other sentient species came and went. Among them, an ancient species who formed a deeper relationship with the Arai, carving temples and dwellings for them in the rocks. And later, a more recent species that took over much of their homeworld. The latter species was especially adept at mechanical construction, using it mostly to capture and process large flying creatures, using the beetles as bait.
Ooh.
Villein. The final species to be discovered were the Villein. The Villein had been communicating with the Arai for many years through ambassador seeds, but became part of the larger community very shortly after the Arai. With a large and imposing frame, and a form of communication based on a complex, multi-voiced, low-frequency rumble, the initial introductions were intimidating. After several attempts, Amelie Vidal was able to begin some rudimentary communication and began visiting the Villein in Marais, which she named, on a regular basis. She discovered a complex and amazing society that was able to use their technology in unexpected ways. They had the ability to quickly transform their world using extruded structures based on some form of complex miniature substrate material. Unlike the other worlds, the Villein sphere is scooped out of a Villein resettlement group that was preparing to set off into space to find a new homeworld. This was their way of life, to put themselves into stasis and scatter themselves through the stars. As mentioned previously, their appearance is imposing, standing about 9 feet tall with a distinct reptilian resemblance. They have 6 limbs, 2 muscular legs and arms, and a smaller set of arms. They control every aspect of their technology with their vocalizations, but over the years they have created control panels based on their number system that allow other species to easier access elements of their technology. Ah, big dudes.
Goro.
All right, so those are the 3 alien species that we're dealing with. I wouldn't be surprised if those were the beetles that we've seen floating around.
And I noticed that none of them are named Karffin.
No. Oh boy, script. The entire landscape outside of our circle of desert could only be described as alien. Large floating rocks could be seen in the distance. No one had ever seen anything like it anywhere on Earth. We fully explored our new surroundings, hoping to find a way home. No way home was ever found. In fact, we soon discovered what we take for granted now. Not only could we not get back home, we also could not access the landscape outside the desert. Curiously, we discovered that a flow of water was provided from a high point of rock, and we discovered a small tree growing in the very center of the circle. Our central tree that is so important to our lives here was just a mere sapling back then. I shall document the curious events that have transpired with myself, my family, friends, and coworkers. Hartnell was a peaceful mining town founded by my grandfather and nestled within the red rock of the desert in the Arizona Territory. Its 163 inhabitants heard a mighty explosion on the night of June 27, 1903. I sent several workers through the town to verify that the explosion had not caused any injuries or damage to mining equipment. They returned and reported that it must have been a loud clap of thunder caused by dry lightning, for they found no damage. It was not until the light of the next morning that we were amazed to realize something profound had indeed occurred. At some point during that night, our entire mining facility and a large circle of the land around it seemed to have been scooped up and carried off to a completely different place, all without anyone knowing about it.
So that does confirm that the town itself isn't manufactured so much as stolen, specifically
Yes.
from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Also, probably have mixed feelings about the fact that apparently they recognize that the tree will send out seeds that'll scoop people up and take them here. And I feel like that at least some people would kind of resent that or perceive it as dangerous, and maybe would want to destroy the tree for that reason.
Absolutely. Hey, another book. Welcome to Hoonrath. Please give us a bit of information about you so we can get to know you better. Name, date you came from, where you came from, circumstance under which you were taken. Please note any dangers you noticed. So we've got a couple of different people here. And these are kind of tough to read. I wonder if I can maybe approach it from a different angle, if I'll have different lighting on it. No, not really. Samuel Karen came from Madagascar. I had just arrived and was driving my supply truck along the coast south of Manakara when I recalled being washed away and the seat appeared. Uziel Regenbogen from Germany. The last thing I recall is a large rumbling while I was hiding in the cellar of a vacant building. I ran toward a bright light in a stairwell. Maria Gallego. On my boat and bad storm. And Lang Kiyu from Portland. Oh, from 2042. Skiing on Mount Hood. Interesting. So there are people from the distant future as well as the distant past.
Good to know that the United States survives at least another couple decades.
That might be wishful thinking.
Saria is a Mofang or is involved with the Mofang?
It looks like it's a Mofang planet.
So I'm assuming that there's those seeds that will be able to act as teleporters to these other worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like we do not have a direct means back to Earth.
Correct. Interesting. I wonder what these Pokeballs represent. Children's drawings. Interestingly enough, they look like children's drawings of the various aliens.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute.
And with badass weapons.
Yes, of course. Oh boy.
Dude. They're not going to let you record over it. I'm glad you're being kind and rewinding.
I just want to make sure to get to the beginning of the tape, that's all.
Well, I feel like I should say something. We haven't heard from Shavar. So, well, so we assume that Shavar, well, that the attack is inevitable. We just don't know when. So, Shavar and her family, and others she trusts, I guess. Well, they'll arrive when they can, without giving, like covertly. So the plan will happen, in spite of our we're locking down as much as possible here and moving everybody out. CW will stay here, and I'll go to Arai at the last possible moment. Most are gone. There's just a few left here now. The mayor got out early. I don't even know why I'm recording this. It's like somehow we'll live on or something. I guess this has meaning if someone listens, but who? A new one? A new arriver. Oh, God, the kiosk out front. I need to update that message.
It sounds like Farley has about the same level of difficulty with recording a Let's Play as I do.
Come now. Oh, there's another side of the tape.
There's a B-side to this album. We're already at it.
Okay.
We all lost everything. Everything but our stories. And they shouldn't be forgotten.
Is this the bit from the beginning?
It was
I think so.
April of 1983. Cecil, it was 1870 for you. Sam and Vera, you tell it like it was yesterday, but it's been 62 years since you saw that blast of light.
Wonder if there's anything new at the end.
Some of you
At least we have diegetic for reason why we had that speech.
Mm-hmm. I'm struck by how much more well-spoken she is here.
I think that the weight of everything that was happening at the end, and I think that seems like she was very devastated by whatever happened to Shavar.
Mm-hmm.
And we all felt some kind of trepidation, and yet attraction as we approached it, and it approached us. So close, so radiant, and a sound deep and vibrant, organic. You all remember, there was no turning away. It advanced, almost like purposefully, spinning slowly until, well, It saved us, and there must be more.
It was in the middle of the afternoon.
I was watching the sunrise.
It was about 2:30 in the morning. December 26th, 1948.
May 7th, 2009. September 3rd, 1995.
I was down by the river.
I was hiking in the desert, in the park with my grandson.
I looked up and saw a
Brilliant flash of light. Exploded in the sky. The light, it flew into the clouds and behind some trees and
it disappeared. I looked around and, to see.
see if there was anyone around. See if anyone else had seen what I had seen.
There was no one around.
They all saw it too. Bob definitely saw it. Well, it was just beautiful. There was something calming about it.
Yeah, I don't mind telling you, I was kind of freaking out. I tried to follow it, tried to get a better look at it.
Wanted to see it again.
I came to a place where it had disappeared.
I looked, but I found nothing. And it streaked through the sky again. It seemed like it was looking for something. Or looking for someone. And then it found me. And it found me. Found me. It found me. Found me.
Found me. Found me.
And it found me. Was that edited together, or were they all just talking over each other in the same room?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
But how about this koala?
How about this koala?
What secrets does it have? So if Farley is still alive, she went to Moray.
Correct. Which was the homeland of the Arai? Is that what we established?
I think we'd have to double check, I think, but yeah, it would make sense for it to be one of the aliens that, like, it feels like the Mofang were equivalent to the humans insofar as there doesn't seem to be a direct way back to their homeworld.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so this is the home of the Villein. Vidal was able to begin some rudimentary communication and began visiting the Villein in Marais, which she named on a regular basis. So, Farley went with the Villein.
Okay. It also strikes me that, my initial assumption was the Mofang were responsible for the scooping up, but it seems like that either the tree or some entity that created the tree was responsible for this.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like our next objective is going to be to deal with the tree, yeah? To do something
I mean,
with
at least we get over there and check out those special seeds. And also, it seems like that, at least like Yosef and some of the documentation seems to suggest that they wouldn't want to destroy the tree because they depend on it, maybe for sustenance, but it's not really clear yet. We may want to visit with CW again just because he wanted the power on, and he's getting power, even if maybe not the whole mining bubble is.
It's a good idea.
Just let him know that, he can proceed with whatever nefarious plans he might have.
Do you think we can trust him?
He seems pretty sketchy. But I'm also just kind of basing that on my bias of playing Myst games, where you don't want to just take the word of the first person you meet.
Sure.
Is he even going to answer us?
Oh. That's a button.
Power's on. Did you come back for a medal? Sorry, I don't mean to neglect my manners. My name is Cecil. Most around here call me CW. started was 7. Lord. I wonder. That red beam.
Oh, that karffin red beam.
I'm guessing he got a little distressed there because it's the same color as his daughter's namesake.
Yeah, that's an observation.
He still could have at least, told us what the red beam's supposed to be for, though I suspect we're going to need it to deactivate the imager rocks.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
The question is, will that conversation embolden us to pick up the laser?
I would think there'd be a way to direct the red beam, though, yeah?
Yeah, but a lot of the imager rocks, assuming it's even for that, they're all up in little alcoves all over the place. So we would need a few dozen mirrors to accomplish anything. Also, since it's pointed at the dome, maybe his intention was for it to break through the dome.
That's very possible, yeah. But I wonder what of the blue beams. And what did we do with this? Was this for the power? This battery?
Yeah, I think we hooked this up.
We did. That must have been what powered his shop? I'm a little fuzzy on that detail.
It's too bad that we have a camera instead of jumps, because we could maybe clear this gap.
Right.
Now I noticed there's another piece of track over there.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that's meant if we could somehow use the crane to put it on top here, they could maybe make a walkway. Assuming we're not riding a mine cart over this.
That's sort of what I was thinking. Although the rails would imply a minecart.
I have a sense that this game is designed around Dark Souls style shortcuts where stuff loops around and gives us easier traversal after we've gone the long way. They were all very careful to batten down the hatches here, just so that you have something to do, so you wouldn't be too bored when you arrived.
Well, I'm wondering what the significance is of the lockdown, what they were trying to keep out. Were they trying to impede something's progress?
It's very unclear. The Mofang were going to have a battle of some description, but it's not clear if they were at war with the humans. Maybe there was a conflict with the other races, or maybe they had a conflict with a fifth entity. Do we want to go back over to the power plant area, or do we think there's still something on this end we can fiddle with?
Let's head over to the power plant area.
So it looks like the only place that's not getting any power right now are the garage and the ramp, whatever those got going on. Garage would be a great place to find a minecart.
It would be. The town looks to be off as well.
Mm-hmm. But is the town just the rest of the mining facility area, or is there something besides Farley's community center that constitutes town?
Good question. So what is that circle on here? That's this little bit there. So this area is circled when the light is on.
So it's kind of directly underneath the tree, so either the tower or the rail yard.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like that the town is just the building is kind of adjacent to Cecil's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And since the garage area seems to be equivalent to where the garage is, it does seem like that's where we're going to find like some mine carts. And then this gets to turn into Donkey Kong Country.
So garage seems to be indicating down here.
This area looks a little too dated to have an automatic opener. We already pumped gas into the generator.
There's
a door on the left there.
Mm-hmm. But there doesn't seem to be any means of entering this area.
I mean, if you didn't have a camera, you could jump on that little table over there and get over the fence.
Hmm.
Telephone. I have to assume that this either is non-functional or is part of a very elaborate code entry system.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea, actually. There's no way to open this garage door, huh? Hmm.
I mean, it would be like vandalism just to break in. You got to find a proper way to
would.
enter.
It would.
So
Careful.
the gasoline they've got here has to be what they brought from like 1902, right?
I got to imagine.
I mean, I don't know how long it's been for the actual residents, how long this community's been around, but I feel like they probably would have burned through that gas pretty quick.
Well, we're able to use it to turn on the electricity, though.
Yeah. Unless the tree also provides, the tree and or aliens provide gas in addition to the river.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey. We can get up here, over here.
Can we climb up the stairs, see something cool?
Probably can. Let's scope out the perimeter.
The last step is especially nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can rotate this as needed, but the question is there anywhere to rotate to?
Well, let's see. Is there any place that would benefit from a connection? I'm not seeing anything. This is all just open air.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if you take, like, you know, a running camera snapshot, you can leap over.
There's a door up here. Of course. But this door is powered. Presumably. Or at least power is going into this room. I wonder if that's the other side of the tree?
Could be. The garage and the ramp and the town are the three things that are currently not getting any power. So since that goes along the entire circumference, we can access the stairs any way we point it. And maybe this is part of whatever mechanism will let us travel between worlds if it's all like aligned properly. That's a little ambitious, though.
Well, it was deliberately built to be accessible from anywhere along that track.
Mm-hmm.
Does give us a good view of the garage area, though.
Could we access it from that like broken or like that like the closed off area by the generator? There's like a scaffolding coming down from a higher up, if you notice.
Over here?
No, the generator yard, the one that's closed off by the gas station.
Oh, over here.
Yeah, there's a yellow like structure
Yeah.
protruding down.
Mm-hmm.
So is that our entry point? Is the question? Is what I'm wondering.
That's a possibility. That would lead us through there and then raise the gate.
But that's hugging the outer rim of our terrarium here, so I don't even know how we could get over there.
Well, I feel like we don't know what we need to do with this just yet. And it doesn't seem to make any sense whichever way you turn it.
Yeah, it feels like something where we're going to need more information about how all of this works. We're going to have to like make an imager bridge or something, or go between worlds or something kooky. You know those science people, they're always up to these tricks.
Always taking you to some age or another.
Also, that Cecil, he's so, occupied with his personal grief that he can't give us a stronger hint.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't got their pants.
I don't suppose he'll have anything more to say to me.
I feel like our most immediate impediment right now is that we've got the imager rocks all up in our business. But
Yes. Agreed.
that thing's still cute.
My best guess right now is that this has something to do with Cecil's workshop. I think that we have to do something with the lasers.
That would make sense. But we're too respectful of other people's property. See,
Exactly.
we complain about adventure game sociopathy, but when we really need it, when we're just being proper leather, things aren't going our way.
Well, as you mentioned, the Myst games are supposed to be kind of putting you in the shoes of the protagonist, and you wouldn't download a laser.
Right.
Let's check with CW again. Maybe he has something more to say to us.
Yo, Cecil, you home?
We ain't making further progress till you disable that red Mofang beam. You're gonna have to get through the wall of this cell.
So he wants us to disable the laser.
Okay.
So we need to do something that's going to take away power to it. But, he wanted power in the first place. But it's also like Mofang technology, so maybe it doesn't work with electricity. I thought that he was kind of like curt with his like, hey, I know I was being all cryptic earlier, but get your act together.
I'm still just not sure what we accomplished by plugging that in.
I think that's what provided with power to CW's workshop specifically. I could be wrong. My recollection is that CW's workshop did not have power until we plugged that in.
Oh, hey.
That's good.
That's on a mine track.
Isn't that neat?
Isn't it great how we missed the button? Son of a bitch.
You know, having 3 dimensions means there's so much more room for a pixel hunt to occur.
Shield your eyes, David.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what?
Is this just anything? It looks like we can enter.
Oh, man.
Oh, and we can even aim it. Isn't that great?
Oh, I can aim it with my WASD keys. I can turn it off.
So I guess. But is there any forward motion? Can we actually navigate?
Boy, that sure is a question, isn't it?
And like the steering wheel only controls the laser, it looks like.
It does.
I think that if we can get this on the road and point it at some imager rocks, we're going to open up our navigation options significantly.
I am thinking the same. Wondering if it's this lever on the side of my chair here. Come on.
If you flip on like the lever up top, where we get like little holograms for the instructions, will that let you do anything?
Ah, okay. That's what it is. You can't have the laser on. Alright, I gotcha. Okay, so... Oh, yes. I seem to recall needing to figure out how to turn this thing around because you're only ever going one way on the mine track. But this is going to open up some possibilities for us. This is good. This is a nice little ride. This has taken us nowhere, but it's a nice little ride.
This is the real rock.
Ah, that accomplished nothing. Okay, so if I hop out of here...
We can chart a course. Where do we want to go, Rick?
Let's see, if we take it this way... We're going to be backing up, which is a problem.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything helpful.
So let's go this way.
Those are some rocks we want to destroy.
So we'll continue backing up to here. And then here's where we can switch paths. And be back to going forward. And that'll take us straight up here. Which I believe will take us to some imaging rocks in this little area here. No, it will not.
Well, I think there's some imager rocks in there, so unless we can, like, Those look pretty normal.
Those look like real rocks. So going this way won't get us anywhere.
The area up there, like, behind that fencing has an imager rock, if I remember correctly. So I guess it's a question of, like, can we actually aim it through the fencing?
I think we can. Okay, let's try coming this way. You realize that one of us has to be Diddy Kong. How are your cartwheels?
Not good. I'd rather have the helicopter hair, honestly.
So what are we? The Lost sequel with Donkey Kong and Kiddy Kong? I think either of us
I
is
guess it depends
particularly
on like,
dexterous.
do you want to be Kitty or do you want to be Diddy? That's the real question here. Our friend Suha has been trying to goad both of us to eventually play Donkey Kong 64, but you know I know better than to allow it.
Yeah, we'll not stand for her treachery. Oh man, gotta get up this hill.
Wouldn't it be fun if it like flashed like battery low as soon as we got over here?
And we had to take it back to CW's to recharge it. Alright, let's see. I should have... Let's see. I should hopefully have line of sight here. Maybe not quite. Maybe there.
Just barely.
We did it.
Oh Lord. Is it gone?
It's gone.
Okay, let's go check it out. I love destroying rocks.
Especially with karffin Mofang beams.
Ooh. It looks sad and broken now.
It looks like that was a one of
Same as like the
Yosef's-
recorders.
Yeah. Oh.
What an accomplishment. Like, why was it necessary to block off that?
Oh, gotta...
There's the question of, did, Cecil and the gang manage to get through the terrarium once and then regret it?
Yeah, that is a good question. Okay, so we can back up the other way here. So I'm betting if we take out these rocks from here, that'll kind of let us go into a loop, maybe?
Very nice. I love new holes. I'm glad we
believe that
can
worked.
stick our hand out and not have to manually exit the cart.
Okay, so now we can come this way. That is a very nice, deliberate touch. Thank you very much, Cyan.
I feel like these days there's a lot more playtesting, so I can imagine somebody complaining about that quality of life aspect. So do you think, like, we're going to need to bring the red laser over here, or will the blue laser get through?
Well, the blue laser doesn't seem to be doing anything, but neither does the red laser, considering how it's pointed at the sky.
Well, CW told us to deactivate the laser, so maybe it is creating the dome.
Oh, that could be, yeah.
I love that so far our whole like plan of deactivate the rocks to progress has mostly accomplished nothing.
Yeah. Yes.
We're, making baby steps towards whatever eventual progress we'll make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to turn this boat around.
So, like, do we have a area where we have a real circle that we can kind of split off from?
This is the closest that I've seen.
Wham!
It doesn't actually work.
It has, the same car physics as Deadly Premonition.
Oh, man. Haven't you missed mechanical puzzles, David?
I mean, if you're in the right mood for them, they're pretty great.
And going this way is just going to take us back to the shop, right?
I believe that's the case. Because we exited the shop facing forward, so this looks like it's not going to be any different.
I wish we could go through here. That would be nice.
Can't we? Isn't that just like the one that has like a rock blocking it?
It's got a
up?
rock, yeah. If we backed it up down here, would that achieve anything? I don't think so. Unless the laser can be used for something else. We haven't exactly tried pointing it at the red laser yet, have we?
No, I figure that's not going to be the solution, but we might as well give it a shot.
It might not be the solution, but it may be a step.
If we had a more complex junction with like two levers, I think it would be much easier to accomplish any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Ah! Well, now you've done it. Cecil's won. You thought pulling that one lever was bad.
Did we just bring Cecil the blue pages? Are we trapped here forever now?
Well, that seems like that it will allow us to traverse into the outside, maybe.
Yes, this just opened up some new territory for us. Maybe we should check in with him and see what he has to say.
What did you do that for?
Hey Cecil, we disabled the karffin red laser. Oh, we killed him.
Greatly appreciate your help, but this will be complicated, especially for a new arrival or tree, the really big, strange one in the middle. Well, shoot. It's a central piece that's connected to everything. The cell wall, the dome, them seeds, the root beneath it, all of it. It's one and the same, one connected essence. Sounds like a load of Buddhist malarkey. Farley would bust hearing me spout this. Yeah, I really don't get it. Regardless of what it sounds like, we need all of it to be, well, healthy. All of it. Shoot, I'll spell it out for you. You gotta get down below the tree to the heart, connect it all back up. Yeah. Next to my big battery out there. If you haven't already, can you plug it in for me? It's one less thing for me. It's not the best time to be explaining this stuff. Now, where's the Jesse?
Well, that's a new explicitive.
Where the Jesse was he? And where the Jesse will we be when we explore beyond the reaches of the dome? We accomplished a minecart puzzle today, or at least the beginning of it, and got a lore dump, and that is going to be where we end off here in part 2 of Obduction. Be sure to tune in next time as we explore beyond. Where's the name of the place again?
The
This
Hartnell
place.
mining facility.
Yeah, sure. Yes, this place. As we explore beyond this place and see what lies on the other side as we continue our foray into Obduction. Until then, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Rick. This is my pal David, and we hope to see you again next week. Remember to save early and save often, and take care of yourself.
Bye.